One, two, three. So my problem with this is that...
Do you have a problem, Brittany?
I have a problem.
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
On
Teen Wolf. There's a problem.
There's 2 whole episodes left.
And everything is
and no more
resolved.
assassins. Everything is resolved. And that is the #1 thing that has concerned us this season.
Always.
Which is, this is what you hyped, and now it's gone.
It's gone.
You hyped.
It's done. It's over.
He died episode 3. You hyped Garrett and Violet as characters, and they left, what, like episode 5? 6? And the
chemist existed for 1 episode.
The chemist existed for
that
1
was
episode.
it.
But then we were like, okay, whatever, it's just like assassins for the rest
More
of the
assassins.
season.
Woo!
But it's actually not,
No,
because since before the season started, the whole question was who is the Benefactor.
Now we know.
Now we know who the Benefactor is, and that entire plotline is over.
It's done.
Which just leaves my nerves racked.
And like, I know that Jeff had said like, oh yeah, there's more to the Benefactor that meets the eye, and then when that ends, like something else entirely begins, blah blah, and Posey has said it and all this, but it's like you never really think about it until it happens, and now it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we gonna do now? What's going on here?
But also, high five, cause it kinda was Peter! They took the obvious route, but in a way that none of us could have predicted. Of which my only problem is that, like, you really could have tried harder to make Ian Bowen look like young Ian Bowen.
Yeah.
Like,
could give him
that entire
hair.
time, you could not have given Ian Bowen a wig. Ian, did you refuse the wig? Like, I know that that's something silly to be miffed about, but like, guys.
I'm sorry, we just we don't use these often.
But you know, props to the set and the makeup artists, because
the burns were hella creepy.
Burns were hella creepy. You know, I'm always raving about your lighting choices.
Ah yes, the aqua.
I'm sorry, I'm a real fan of the aqua for the
I like it. It's super creepy, but I like it.
Let's talk about the Benefactor theory first. I thought you were still facing me. The Benefactor isn't really Meredith, which is nice because I really like Meredith. But, you know, I hope that, like, she kind of, like, she touches Lydia's face and then she sits back and says, oh my god, what have I done? So I think maybe from here on out, Meredith has finally, like, reached a break in her own mentality where she realizes what she's done and she realizes, like, what is right and maybe what's not, and that there can be good people. Because I think a large portion of Meredith's character and her motivation up to this point is that she was very much like Satomi in the fact that she thought she could not escape her own monstrosity. It was just in her nature. Mm-hmm. And maybe now that she has kind of reached a point of friendship with Lydia, we can move on from that and just, like, keep Meredith as a character. Because I really like that, and I was really sad when Meredith died because I think she has a lot of potential.
I just thought of something. So remember when Meredith helped them unlock the 2nd keyword, but then for the 3rd said, he doesn't want me to tell you? So if she can help them with the 2nd...
Peter doesn't? If Peter kills Derek, I swear. Because you know, if Peter's endgame is to kill Scott McCall and he's like, I must kill the president of this Scott McCall fan club. Well, and kills his own nephew. I don't even know if I could redeem Peter from those deaths.
Yeah. But I mean, also, I just meant in general, like, if she could help...
Oh, well, I mean, he didn't want them to know anymore, I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
Because, like, if she could help them with the 2nd one and it was fine, and then all of a sudden she was like, oh, I can't tell you anymore. Like, Peter must have had someone contact her or something that was like, this is not okay, don't do that again. Also, Peter, like, we now formally know that Peter does have a legitimate plan. I mean, we always knew that.
I think that Peter has a legitimate plan, but I'm not convinced that he knew about the Benefactor. Benefactor thing. I'll buy that it's something that he thought in a sort of crazed coma state, like, and that he did not realize he was responsible for it. I don't believe that he doesn't, like, that he realizes now and is like, oh my god, I should help stop this, otherwise he wouldn't have just walked out of the room. I do believe that our theories for Peter before apply, and he's kind of like, well, I can still work this into my advantage. And I do believe that even when he thought the Benefactor was someone else, you know, he probably had used that as part of his plan. Was just like, well, I'm not on the list, so I'll just make sure that Scott stays alive, and then I'll kill Scott myself after everybody else has been cleansed. I just don't think that he realized it was his own reasoning.
I just don't understand why all of a sudden...
If that makes sense.
It does, but, like, I just don't understand why all of a sudden Meredith couldn't help them with the third one. Like,
no,
there has to be something there. Especially when that was the keyword was Eric.
I think it might have... My effort to explain that away would be that sort of, like, you definitely need Derek out of the way to get Scott.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been a bit of foresight on Meredith's hand, just like it was the foresight of Lydia's grandmother to write the whole list in the first place.
Yeah.
So maybe, like, Meredith knows that Derek's gonna die. Maybe Meredith even knows how Derek's going to die. And if Peter is responsible, which he might not be, Derek also might just not die this season, if you're in complete denial like I am.
Let's hope.
If Peter is in any way responsible for Derek's death in an effort to get to Scott, like, Peter might not even know that yet. But she might have, having Banshee powers, have known that Peter did not want her to tell her that, like, future Peter or something. I don't know if that's a stretch on Banshee powers, but that makes sense in my head.
I'm torn, because I do believe that Peter didn't remember himself making that list. But also, like, after he found out, like, that whole spiel he gave to the sheriff was not very convincing. Like, I didn't buy it.
I think that his reaction towards the sheriff, first of all, Peter is the kind of person who very much does not like to be wrong.
Yeah.
Or to not know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that coming to the realization that so much was happening that he had not factored into his current plan sort of threw him. And I'm willing to mark that down to Peter struggling to keep his composure while trying to admit his own ignorance at the same time. Because I think that that scene paired with his pacing at the end is a vote of confidence for Peter's innocence in technically not knowing that he had planned to kill every supernatural being and tried to create a master race.
Yeah.
Also,
I love Peter, but I'm
really
scared.
interested to find out, like, well, I mean, like, I guess Kate needs to learn control. But part of me just thinks that, like, that's not enough for Kate. There's gotta be another reason that Kate's working with Peter. Either because she has her own motives that she hasn't technically admitted to Peter, and she's out for something else, or there's something they've agreed upon that they're just not showing us.
Yeah. First of all, like, shouldn't she have learned control by now?
I mean, she does seem to be a little controlled, but I also feel like if it was just the control, there would be more playful spats.
Yeah.
And instead, it's
Kate is like Kate is basically acting as Peter's beta.
She's like consistently like soothing him and praising him almost about like everything in your plan has worked perfectly, and it's like she seems to like him a lot. And I mean, like, yes, I sort of like I want Peter Kate, so that might just be my shipper goggles, but like she seems to like him a lot more than it would be if she was just there to gain control.
I mean, I feel like in a way they both kind of respect each other, oddly, because it's like they're both kind of, like, they play the same game. They're both very manipulative, they both know what they want, and there's nothing that's going to stop them. So I feel like they've always had a respect for the other.
So maybe it is just the respect. That would be like, I would buy that also. I'm just like,
I know.
There's something else to their relationship that's not, like, she's not just there for the
something
control.
else there. Because,
and
like,
also,
that just seems like an unfair bargain. Like, oh, teach me how to control my powers and I will help you with every single aspect of your plan.
And also, like, what has Kate done for Peter so far? Is that all, like, to come, like, Kate's part? Because he was very intent as having her as part of his plan. The only thing that we've seen her do for Peter so far is try and take Scott's body to ensure that Scott was still alive. So I guess there's more aspects of like the
more.
plan that will happen in the next 2 episodes.
Liam!
You know what I want to see in the next 2 episodes? Liam stepping up to the plate. Liam deciding, you know what, I can be like that. Is that in a gleeful toot? Okay.
He's so scared! And you know what? Good for you, Teen Wolf, because in terms of characterization, like, a little freshman who just got turned into a werewolf and is all of a sudden learning about the supernatural would be terrified, especially when they find out they're on a hit list for $18 million. They would be terrified. And it's like a lot of other shows, like, they could have done is make him, like, all, like, tough, like, I'm not scared, I'm gonna follow you guys, yeah. But, like, realistically, that's not how anyone would act. Ever. He wants to be good so bad, but, like, he's scared, he knows he's scared, and he's not trying to say that he's not. But now I'm worried. Do you want a party horn?
I do want a party horn. Lydia is back on! It's back!
I feel like this thing should make noise.
Oh my god, Lydia is back. Though that is one thing that never got explained. What was actually up with that door? I thought the camera was gonna like zoom out further and Melissa was gonna be like sitting there like smirking to herself next to the door where they couldn't see her. But like, that didn't happen. The door just like cosmically and magically opened and like I don't know if some magical invisible force in Beacon Hills wants Stiles and Lydia together, because really right now that's what they're alluding to.
Yeah, when they like first closed the door, at first I was like, oh my god, it's Melissa, ha, and then I was like, oh shit, Malia's on the Deadpool list, oh my god, this is an assassin.
Right? We don't actually know what happened there.
I guess,
and I don't know if that's gonna get explained.
I guess we're supposed to imply that it was Melissa, but also it wasn't even like a open all the way all of a sudden and then she was there. Like, it was like a slow opening and then they both just kind of looked.
You know what it was? Creepy. It was creepy and unexplained, which generally leaves me with a feeling of uneasiness, and I don't like that. So while we're kind of on the subject of parents, I'm kind of hoping that the completely destroyed lake house kind of brings Natalie into the circle, because at the very least, if her first reaction is not, Lydia, what is wrong with the lake house, she could at least walk into that room and be like, what is with all of these old-fashioned computers behind the walls of my lake house?
Exactly.
And then Lydia will have to be like, she'll have at least some evidence as to like why the wall needed to be torn down, and then maybe we can bring Natalie into the loop.
I'm still super confused because it's like Meredith made the Deadpool.
Lydia said that her grandmother wrote the code.
The code, yeah.
The code. Which was, whether she knew it or not, was used ciphers to come up with all of these names of future generations of supernatural creatures. Mm-hmm. So
Meredith,
the code was physically written.
Meredith assigned the money.
Meredith was the one who put the plan into action. So she was the one who actually like had the plan and like I guess told she did it knowingly, because she said like she heard that Allison died, knew that there was a need to start over. So like she did it with a purpose. So it's not like she like accidentally told Brunski. Yeah. Like, I don't know how she got Brunski to
I was gonna say, I don't know how she manipulated him, though. I mean, unless she's bribing him.
And I don't know. I think it kind of made it seem, in the scene where Lydia was, like, semi-interrogating her, that, like, she gave the list to Brunski, and then Brunski... I don't know if she had... Oh, actually, no, because Peter had said that he would pay people, so that had been part of Peter's plan too, which is why Meredith felt like she needed to do it. Yeah. So yeah, I think it just comes down to like, how did Meredith get Brunski to do it, even if he was willing to kill people?
Also, it seemed that he didn't really know about the supernatural. Because, I mean, you can just have a hit list without it being supernatural. So it's like, it's not like because he knew about the Deadpool, he automatically knew it was supernatural creatures. Because, like, I figure...
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like if he would have known about the supernatural, he would have said something to Lydia to the extent of, like, saying that she's a banshee and that her grandmother was and all that stuff.
He wouldn't... I don't think he knew about Lorraine. Because he had told Lydia, I need your help because I don't understand this part of the tape.
Yeah.
And if it had been something like that, like, he probably would have known.
Yeah.
But also, like, his dying words were that Meredith was controlling him. And I don't think that's within a banshee's power.
It's not.
Mind control.
So, like...
So what did Meredith do to Brunski to, like, get him to go along with this? Because Brunski didn't kill anyone on the list.
Yeah. That's what I don't know.
He wasn't getting paid.
That's why, like, I'm super confused. I mean, unless she was just, like, blackmailing him, since she maybe knew about all of the people that he killed, but then he could have just killed her, so I don't understand how that worked. Yeah.
So we don't know if anything of what Lydia was spitballing was true. We just kind of, like, that's probably all they're gonna say about it.
Yeah.
Because now we're moving on to a new problem.
Yep.
I don't understand what Brunski got out of it, and he's dead. So I don't really know if we're ever gonna find out.
I mean, it doesn't look like we're gonna be seeing the last of Meredith, so I feel like she's gonna be in the...
Meredith will come back probably, but I don't know if...
That's gonna be explained.
I think that we've kind of just, like... They are done explaining that. So it's pretty much just here on out.
I feel like we're just supposed to take it at face value, which is something that we don't really do.
Yeah, we're supposed to do on Teen Wolf a lot, but like...
We don't. No. Lydia! She is coming into her own, and I am so proud of her. First of all, she's taking lessons from Styles freaking Stilinski in Interrogation 101.
Oh my god, it was so great!
And, like, trying to get the information out of Meredith, and she was just kind of, like, coaxing her in a very Styles-esque way, and I was so proud because it's, like, you always see, like, Styles and Lydia working together, and you see Lydia, like, being smart and, like, coming up with all of, like, the facts, and then Styles puts it together and then puts it into action. And it's, like, they're a great team that way, and I love those interactions. But I was so, like, happy to see Lydia being the one to be like, listen, I'm gonna get this done, and here's how we're gonna do this. And also, I really liked the Papa Stilinski-Lydia interactions so much. I also loved that it was very small, but it was a thing.
You haven't gone home yet?
Look at her up and down, like, hi. We got a question on Tumblr that was like, season 4 is supposed to be Lydia's season, but she hasn't had much airtime. Like, what do you think about that? And, like, I answered it, but I'm gonna stop playing with that, for one. And second, I'm going to address this here, because I think it's super important. Because, like, if you look at it, like, as a normal viewer, like, it does seem like Lydia hasn't had as much screen time. But then, like, if you think about it, she has, like, had the same amount of screen time she's always had. It's just, she's been on her own for a lot of it. And I feel like we're so used to seeing Lydia being dragged around by everybody, or, like, with certain people, or not really knowing what's happening, so that we don't really, like, take into account when Lydia's on her own solving things now. Because, like, we're so used to her being Styles' sidekick, or following Scott around, or, like, you know, having the pack, like, be like, oh, just stay here. And now she's, like, on her own, and she's just solving everything. So I think it very much is Lydia's season, and she still doesn't really know what she's doing, but she's managing to do it anyway.
Lydia Martin.
My girl.
The last thing that we really have to address is true alpha Scott McCall. Now, clearly, the special effects department got distracted because instead of making Peter look younger, they clearly had bigger things to worry about, and we all have bigger things to worry about. Yeah. Because Scott is bordering on his, like, alpha scary season 1 form for a couple seconds in this episode. And it takes a couple seconds because fight scenes are naturally just cut really fast. So it took me a couple flashes of his face before I realized what was happening. But then it was like, that is not Scott McCall's face. That is a wolf face. And that is not good.
And also, he got real close to killing that guy. Scott McCall, Mr. I will save everyone, kill no one. He almost went there. And I mean, honestly, like, I feel like everybody's like, oh, I don't want Scott McCall to go down that road. And I mean, like, I would prefer if he didn't. But also, in the situation, like, realistically, I wouldn't, like, if he had killed the assassins after them, I wouldn't have been upset about it.
I wouldn't have been upset. I mean, like, I'd be emotionally upset because then we would all have to watch Scott go through an arc where he, like,
guilt.
thinks that
So
he's a
much
monster.
guilt.
And I don't want Scott to go through that. But I wouldn't be like, oh my god, Scott, I have no respect for you anymore.
Right.
Like, I would still love Scott McCall just as much, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
So if it happens, we're on Scott's side, like, we love you anyway.
Always.
But also, like, I would really prefer if we put that off as long as possible.
Please and thank you.
Maybe forever.
But, you know, in the end, he stopped himself. So,
for Scott McCall. So, that about wraps up the actual events of the episode. Which brings me to the sad realization that I'm gonna have to watch Peter take on Beacon Hills, like, without anyone to hold on to.
I have no sympathy for you. You're going to be in London.
Thursday, I fly out of the country.
And I start school.
So Brianna and I, unfortunately, will not be doing any more videos together this season.
We ain't even going to be on the same continent.
This is our last Teen Wolf video together for this year.
Yeah, that's right. Be sad. Be sad and miss me.
I am going to keep the videos going. I will also be watching it in the afternoon.
Yep.
So there will be better lighting.
I just want to say thanks everyone for all of your continued support. And you should keep on supporting us. And I will still be helping man the TUMBLR. So that's a thing. I'll be around.
I don't think there's a better goodbye gift than knowing there is 1,000 of you who think that we are worthy of your time.
I don't know why you do, but thank you.
Because these videos are really long and really weird.
They're really weird. They're pretty dumb.
But you guys make it all worth it.
You do.
So, thank you
Thanks.
again. Brianna will make some sort of appearance over the next couple weeks. We'll figure out something. If you guys have suggestions on what you'd like to hear from Brianna, that would be good.
You can leave them down there.
Or
in the ask box on our basically Banshee's Tumblr. So don't forget to keep watching Team Wolf and keep watching Wolf Watch and give our cast and crew the utmost support because they're awesome and we love them and we love you guys and it's just one big circle of love. I was gonna do that and then I changed it and then I was like, I'll do it again. Aww. Hug me, brother.
thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week from across the pond while we try and figure out what Peter is trying to do to Beacon Hills this time.
Just rub it in, why don't you?
Ah!